Welcome to Helping Hands. This is where we celebrate the people who make the world a better place. Coming up today,
I work for the Royal Botanic Gardens. The program's called Community Greening.
doing something for the greater good.
It feels like mothers are carrying a lot, particularly if they're wanting to be in the workplace.
We discuss the pressures and expectations on mums. And we invite you to connect at helpinghands.tv. The biggest changes in our communities and in our personal lives often take place as a result of many small, everyday decisions that we make. By taking many small, incremental steps in the direction you'd like to go, we can all make a big difference in our circles of influence.
My name's Darren and I work for the Royal Botanic Gardens. The program's called Community Greening. This is an outreach program. We partner with Wesley Mission. They make contact with us. So we go out into the community. We work with people who live in social housing. At the moment, I'm coming to this complex once a month. I meet with Lisa and the team from Wesley Mission. We support community. We work side by side with them and we promote the health benefits of gardening and horticultural therapy. What we're doing today is we're just going to spread out some of this mulch. We're going to use our hands, Richard. We're going to spread it around in this particular spot here. So this is an area that hasn't had mulch on it for a little while now, so we're just going to top it up.
Have you got it?
Wesley Community Housing is a community housing provider. We are more about the people than we are about the building. Like, the buildings are important and the housing that these people are in is important because it does provide them with shelter. But we are engaging the tenants to get together for them to actually connect with each other and with others. But they can also connect with us. They can connect with the garden.
Chippies don't have soft hands,
No, mate, what they do now when they don't work for about 2 or 3 years, right?
So that then that also helps them with their well-being.
So we're just going to thin that out.
It gives a different viewpoint, not just looking at a brick wall or, sitting by yourself in a flat. You can come out if you want, you can sit in the garden, and it's a lot more pleasant than if it was just concrete and clay. Generally, the fellas around here get some pleasure out of it. And we have a few vegetables and stuff down the end. We're working on that because not everybody's going to pick their own veggies, but some people have started doing it.
So Brad, how long have you been a part of Wesley Mission?
Probably about 10 years now, I think. 7 years here and about three years up at Warwick Farm. I was homeless at the time and I was trying to find a place that was relatively safe. And the places that I'd lived in, this one is very safe. No, I mean the ones before this weren't quite as pleasant as this one.
I met you one of the other times I come up here. I certainly know this man over there because he's come down and put gardens and all that and everything out.
It's been an interesting life, but I won't go into any detail about it.
Give me a chair, George.
It's I'm still affected by what my past was in many ways, but because I've got a stable environment, I'm able to deal with that in what I perceive as a lot of positive ways. What's good now? I'm able to pace myself. Physically, I'm not real well, and it's not going to get better, but I can have an interest that I don't have to wander too far from home for. And how fortunate that, people from like Darren and that are coming around and Richard, isn't that wonderful? That's a good sense of community. Communities have been sort of busted up a lot lately, and it actually takes some effort to generate it, and it's good.
And we're just going to put it just here for now. That'll do. So as you can see, most of it's been put together already. That was done by Tallerwood Men's Shed. So we're going to build the table. Hopefully we're going to get the guys involved. I know that we've got a few there who are really keen to come out and be part of it. So we want them to play an active role in putting the table together so there's that ownership, and it's not a gift, it's something that we're doing together. It's something that they want in their garden.
How many drills you got?
Your one.
Stopped work about, I was 66, I was still working. And then the labour hire company said, But I still do a little bit of work, do little odd jobs and, you know, for people and that, whatever, but not a lot now, not like I used to. We're just putting the slats on this table. 7 years ago I went to Harrison Street. I'd run out of money, run out of work. And I moved in. And them days it was drug and alcohol rehab. I never had those problems, or probably a little bit of alcohol. And for $100 a week, I'm still there. How good was it, George, eh? It's been good for me. Well, put it this way, it's been very, very affordable. I'll put it right on the end there so you can knock it down. That's it. Hold it there. Give me a couple of screws. Just put a screw.
With the head. With the head.
And I've been doing this for quite some time too, I think. How many years now, George? 5 years. Making up all the planter stands in different places. It's something that everyone can participate in. It's not just one person or whatever. Everyone can come out and do it if they want to. Nobody's left out. You couldn't get any better than that. I mean, Housing Commission, you wouldn't get anything like this, I don't think.
There is more after the break.
I feel as though I've got more from the activity than they have, because just hearing their stories and sharing what they've been through in their life.
Across New South Wales, we currently have, for our community housing programs, 411 tenancies, and they consist of very short-term tenancies up to 3 months, slightly longer term up to 2 years, and then properties like this property, which are longer-term tenancies as long as the tenants need it. So we're similar to a real estate agent in that we manage buildings and we manage tenancies under the Residential Tenancy Act, but we do provide more than that. So we're not just about the transactions, we're not just about someone has a place to stay, we want someone to sustain the tenancy that they're in and to be the best person that they can be in that tenancy.
So this garden we put in, well, it was probably 3 months ago, I think.
Yeah.
Well, the first time we put it in, we planted a whole heap of herbs and different annuals, like some lettuce and some spinach and a few other bits and pieces. Pretty much now ready to pick. Yep, that's beautiful, ready to go.
Right now, we have over here some lettuce.
We've got some parsley over the back.
Now there's several different varieties of lettuce in here. You might be able to see some of the difference in them. Right, that's a lettuce too.
I got this chili too.
Oh, beauty, man.
Look at that, bro.
Are these yours?
Yeah, Mexican stuff.
Oh no, they're hot, aren't they?
Oh, yeah. This chili we planted about 3 months ago down Ashcroft, Harrisville Creek.
Together we planted them as part of a gardening workshop. George loves his chili, so he's the go-to person. Anything about chilies, George knows. And he's also our taste tester. So what do they like, George? But he loves them hot.
Yeah. I'm tempted. Yeah. They're hot. Ooh, they're hot. Ooh. Oh,
Now by coming in, putting in veggie patches and planting some flower beds and putting in a table and providing opportunities where the residents can work with me from the Royal Botanic Gardens, they can work with Lisa and the team from Wesley Mission, they can achieve great levels of success.
I find that it's a luxury that I've never had before in this life, being able to walk outside the door, take about 20 steps and pick a bit of lettuce for lunch. And you know, I'm so out of practice with it that I forget that it's here. This is a good place to live. It has its ordinary difficulties, but they're only ordinary. So I'm grateful for all the assistance that I've gotten over the years.
When you're doing events like this, you're communicating with other people and everything else and whatever. Like you're not stuck in a place not by yourself and, you know, like you stay inside all day and do nothing.
You know, sometimes you find there are people there who have things in common with you and other times not. But, you know, I work with a lot of people with Wesley Mission, and the thing that really stands out for me are the stories. Everyone's got a story. Sometimes I feel as though I've got more from the activity than they have, because just hearing their stories and sharing what they've been through in their life, it's pretty special.
This is my life, mate. That's it. This is my life at this point in time.
If you are a helping hand or would like to see a helping hand from your local community featured on this program, visit our website and be in touch. We'd love to hear about the people and organisations across Australia who are making the world a better place.
Head over to our social channels and subscribe via our website to stay up to date on all things Helping Hands. We'd love for you to join our Helping Hands family and to spread the word about the program. Welcome back to Helping Hands. This is where we celebrate the people who make the world a better place. Mother's Day comes but once a year, but the pressures and expectations of motherhood last all year long. Our panel join Laura Bennett in the studio and ask where the pressures and expectations come from.
Hi everyone, thanks so much for being with us. On the panel today, we have Warwick Marsh, the CEO of Dads for Kids. We have Justine Toe from the Centre for Public Christianity, and also psychologist and teacher Colette Smart. Thank you so much for joining us. Now I want to start with you, Colette. What are the kind of pressures that you see on mums these days in their role within motherhood?
We've heard a lot about this idea of mothers carrying the cognitive or mental load or the emotional load. That is so true. Look, that's not to say that there's dads who don't do incredible work, and we've seen the work of Steve Biddulph and Warwick, who really, we've seen dads really step up and connect emotionally with their children. But I think as mums, it's kind of like your brain's like a computer, and you've got 10 tabs open at once. And so you've got I need to pick up from sport tab. I need to buy Weet-Bix because last week my children liked rice bubbles and I had 10 boxes and now they hate rice bubbles. So now we've got to get Weet-Bix. Oh, and it's parent teacher. I've got to book those interviews. It's just like all these tabs are open in my head all the time, and checking in on my child's emotional levels and what he's got for homework or what she's got to do. And then we have mothers who also have their own another screen open with their own volunteering work or their part-time job or their full-time job. And it feels like mothers are carrying a lot. And, you know, particularly if they're wanting to be in the workplace, there's a lot for them to carry.
And that's your story, Justine. You've got 2 young kids. You've got a really great, successful career. What does motherhood look like for you?
It looks like failing at everything all at once. Colette, like, thank you. You know, absolutely. It is like that. It's putting out fires constantly, okay? It's like, okay, over here, and then over here, and then over here, and then over here. And I feel exhausted by the end of the day.
So then you obviously build a resilience then with being able to be a firefighter essentially and manage, you know, manage failure, manage change.
Yeah, I wouldn't say I'm great at it, but I'm learning on the job.
Resilient, but also sometimes really exhausted.
Yeah.
Combination of the two. And Warwick, you're a dad, 5 kids. What does it look like as the role of a father, I suppose, to play into and support the role of a mum?
The best thing a father can do for his children is to love his children's mother. Now, A lot of guys, for some reason, don't get that one. I talk to men all the time. I don't know why men don't get it, because your children are half of your wife. They're looking to you to show love and resolve your differences. Yes, you might have differences, you might have differences of opinion, but it's about actually resolving those differences and reconciling constantly and showing your children how to love. And look, women need our support. They need support from a man who cares and is there for them. And we were just chatting before how maybe on Mother's Day, the best thing for a father to do is to give mum, you know, a day off, a half a day off, whatever it is, give her some time to herself, and that might well be the case. But whatever it is, you should be asking that question and trying to find out what you can do to make your wife happy.
By the nature of us having this conversation, we can, and especially on Mother's Day, it can sound like the role of parenting is the mother's, you know, mums are doing everything, mums are the one with all the tabs open. And yes, of course, mums do a really big role, but it's co-parenting, right? Like mums, dads, both parents, they each have a role to play. So how do you do that well? How do you co-parent effectively?
I think co-parenting looks like good communication, open communication, and then looking at those tabs. You might have 10, 40, 100 tabs open in your head. Perhaps your partner doesn't know what's open, and so communicating with each other, finding out what the other person's tabs look like, and then putting them all out on the table and sharing the tabs so that you actually really are co-parenting, that you're not kind of just helping out the mum who's doing the work.
And Warwick, I mean, dads have their own tabs open, right?
Look, we've got a lot of tabs open, believe it or not. Although there's a story about the nothing box, you might have heard it, and this guy talks about, laughing away to a better marriage, he talks about how women, their brains, everything's connected to everything. It's all just connected. And men have lots of boxes, and one box infuriates women. It's called the nothing box. And he carefully takes that box out, and of course it really annoys a woman. But seriously, look, we all have challenges, and we've got to learn to be, like I'm speaking now as a man, we've got to be sensitive to our wife, especially as Mother's Day, and make sure we take the load off as best we possibly can. Of course, that goes for all year round as well, but definitely, yeah, there's lots of tabs open for all of us as parents.
I would like to see how, I think a lot of women make sacrifices. I mean, often women are the secondary earner, let's say, in a two-parent family, and the husband, let's say, is the primary earner. But then that means that sometimes I think women are the flexitarians. They're trying to flex everything around, trying to make family life okay, do their work, but also kind of keep the home fires burning, right? But then I wonder if women are making kind of sacrifices on that basis to enable that to happen. So I think, and I'm sure Warwick would agree with me, that seeing the husband kind of really do his own sacrificing, which might mean, right, rather than spending the weekend as he would want to, or even just spending Mother's Day as he would want to, taking the kids not just for a day, but what do you know, for a week. Like, oh my gosh, you know, like that's the kind of thing that I would be really excited about. So is my husband listening?
Well, I would argue too that motherhood is sort of ultimately incredibly sacrificial. To be a mother and to have a baby in itself is incredibly sacrificial, and it costs blood, it costs pain. And for a man to watch your wife having a baby is quite scary. But seriously, it's incredible what mothers bring to the table. And I think in some ways, as men, we are sort of catching up with this concept of sacrifice. I do train men about the importance of sacrifice, but it's something we have to learn as men. But for a woman, she actually engages with that in the very early stages of carrying the baby, and the discomfort and the pain, then the actual process, then the whole, you know, the brunt of the early years. So, you know, we as men have to be there for her.
Thank you all so much for the thoughts you've brought. There's so much more to this discussion as well. And thank you guys for watching, and happy Mother's Day to all of the mums.
If there's a topic that you'd like to see discussed on Helping Hands, visit our website and be in touch. We love talking about the things that make the world a better place.
Closely connected to this topic is the age-old discussion of the roles and responsibilities of both parents when raising children, and the need to be on the same page on many of life's big issues. Head over to our social media channels and tell us about your mum or the motherly figures in your life. game changer often requires us to put other people first and to do something that empowers and benefits the people around us. By focusing on the needs we'd like to fill, the people we'd like to connect with, and the outcomes we'd like to see, we can all make an impact that reaches beyond ourselves.
Let us know about the Helping Hands in your local community at helpinghands.tv. Send a photo or a short video and tell us about your local heroes in 25 words or less.
We would love to hear about the helping hands in your local community. Send in a photo of someone in your world who you consider to be a helping hand, and we'll give them a shout out here on the program. See you next week on Helping Hands.